Welcome back, everybody. It is time for some more randomizer action of the tournament 2018. Now, we already had the conclusion of the first semi-final match earlier today, and this one is going to be the last semi-final match. Then only the finals will be left. It will be between Sigma and IMRaziel. And on commentary, I'm Sparek, and I'm joined by Grimelios. Hey, Grimelios.
Yo, what's up, dude? How are you?
Yeah, well, pretty excited for these races, like these semifinals and then also the final, of course. I mean, they are bound to be pretty close, right? Pretty good series of matches with the kind of runners that you see making it to the finals.
We would certainly expect them to be close. I mean, you can see that Sigma is seed number 2, Raz is seed number 3. Again, seed numbers in Randomizer are not hugely important, but the fact that they're in the semifinals matters a lot more. What's particularly interesting about this match for me, apart from the fact that it's a semifinals match, is that Sigma and Raz are doubles partners, which is just sort of funny that it worked out that they end up facing off in the singles tournament.
So that means we will probably find out in this series of matches which one of the team that is still faster is actually still faster, right?
You know, that's a good point. I think that's the real question of the day. We are getting kicked off, as should be obvious from the fact that we're no longer on the title screen. IMRaziel's on the left, Sigma's on the right. I would expect this to be probably pretty close, as you said, Spark. As always, it's just gonna, I think, largely come down to if either player misses anything really important.
Yeah, well, very much depends on what you choose in regards to routing, right? Like, at the start of the game, there's not too much routing decisions, mostly. But then later on, you could just make one of these pickups, and then there's really nothing people can do, even if they are pretty experienced at the randomizer. So in general, you just try to optimize your routing and read through the logic.
Yeah, that's right. Not much to speak of in the early game. The first 2 pickups were keystones, which leaves one and only one path available as far as continued pickups go. It does mean that Raz and Sigma will most likely both be continuing into the wall jump area, although without some additional something, they're going to have to leave some pickups behind. We'll kind of see with the next 2 keystones. Well, vanilla keystones anyway. We'll have in store.
The 2 experiences were keystones, so maybe the keystones are experienced. We will find out shortly. With 2 keystones, we can of course already reach the left place area, so there are lots more pickups that they can get at this point already. And they're pretty close so far. Like, this is only early glades, nothing too much. Wow, okay, there's wall jump. That's still a pretty generic start, but it opens up Blackwood Burrows already, so it'll be interesting if a runner will choose to do that after checking the fake stick.
I'm guessing that both of them continue to wall jump, though. And we see IMRaziel just, moments ahead of Sigma. Both of them checked fake flippers, but are not keeping the energy regen, which is good because energy regen is not very valuable. The reasons why you would continue into Black Root, or I'm sorry, continue into wall jump area, rather than Black Root, is that wall jump area has a lot more pickups that are much faster to get.
Especially with wall jump, right? There's lots of pickups that you can get only when you have wall jump. And then, like, they've gotten so much keystones that you can already go into the Spirit Caverns area as well, which also holds quite a lot of pickups. So probably the better decision than to reach Blackwood Burrows right now.
Well, this is fascinating, to be honest. I mean, the risk in, if you want to call it a risk, in coming through wall jump now is that you have to skip some pickups. For example, there's that ability cell up top that neither Sigma nor IMRaziel can check. It's also fascinating to me that both runners are going into Spirit Caverns right now. Some runners might choose to continue to wall jump and then maybe even never come back here or save it until later.
Ooh, and there's Charge Flame. Now, immediately the Charge Flame tree is available because the blue wall can be broken, and there's also wall jump.
Sorry, that was Monka S for Sigma, got knocked down to 1 damage, but he is alive, albeit a few seconds further behind his doubles teammate.
Yeah, not too much. That's not like you can't come back from that, right? There's still lots of race left. So, good thing he survived that, of course.
Here we go, all these little differences. IMRaziel was slightly ahead coming out of Spirit Caverns, decided to head down towards the map stone, but of course IMRaziel doesn't have an actual map stone to put in the altar, pedestal, whatever you want to call it. Sigma, recognizing that fact, is going to continue and get these additional 4 pickups, probably hope that he happens to find a map stone along the way.
It would save a little bit of time, though he does have a little bit of trouble with the Crushers. Had a save nearby, so not really losing too much time. But this doesn't look like a Mapstone is here yet. There's one more pickup that he can get before he has to check the wall jump area.
Okay, and this is kind of expected as well. Still no map for Sigma, but he's going to drop over here anyway because, of course, there is a keystone which you can just get out in the open. It does take some time to come over here, and so that is going to be a net advantage for IMRaziel dropping in here first, but it's still not very important in the early game. IMRaziel does have the lead coming to wall jump, though.
That is certainly right. Now there's the Mapstone on the wall jump tree, so like they have to go to Charge Flame tree soon as well, I think, having gotten the Charge Flame skill, so maybe they, like IMRaziel is probably, yeah, he's not alt-Ring, he's just going up back to the Mapstone, and then maybe he'll go to Charge Flame, maybe he will choose to alt-Ring and go to Black.
It's an interesting question, for the very simple reason that we've already seen IMRaziel and Sigma clear out Spirit Caverns for their pickups. Of course, they had to leave the ability cell behind, but they got everything else. The question is, there's Charge Flame available, as you said, and there's Blackroot available. Those two areas might contain additional progression that takes them somewhere else, or they might end up going to Spirit Caverns and opening up the 4 Keystone door, at which point Sigma's routing would be more efficient.
Yeah, so Sigma is choosing to go to Blackroot Burrows right now.
Yeah. I kind of like that decision, to be honest. I mean, the upside is that IMRaziel is now 1 map alter above Sigma. It ended up not paying off, of course, but Sigma doesn't know that yet. Or it's not paying up yet, we should say, yeah. Might pay off on future maps.
Might, if he gets, for example, another he gets another Mapstone in the other way to Charge Flame, he could put that in like in the second altar if he chooses to do the boulder sequence break thing. So this would just mean that IMRaziel is a little bit further in the Mapstone progression, because of course they are progressive, so it doesn't really matter where you put them in, it just matters how many Mapstones you have put in altars in total.
I'm also thinking about clues. Reminder that clues come every 3 trees, and so not counting Spirit Flame, that's going to be 2 for IMRaziel, only because getting to the Charge Flame tree is faster than getting to the Dash tree. I would expect that by the time IMRaziel goes through Blackroot and finishes things out, we're probably going to end up seeing the clue from both runners roughly at the same time. Yeah,
like this traversal through Blackroot takes quite a while. Like it kind of looks like Sigma is only a little bit ahead of IMRaziel at this point, but IMRaziel has cleared the Charge Flame tree and Sigma has already been down to Blackroot Burrows, so he is way further than IMRaziel is right now in the Blackroot Burrows area. But of course, again, IMRaziel has checked the Charge Flame tree, and what would be kind of the next thing they are looking for here, Grim? What do you think?
It's kind of easier to talk about what it wouldn't be. There's a million things it could be progression. The thing about this wall jump Charge Flame start is that I wouldn't call it starved exactly, right? Because you can clear out a lot of areas, including the wall jump loop and Spirit Caverns and whatnot. However, it does often, not always, it does often force going through the Spirit Caverns, opening up the Keystone door, and then kind of going the slow way around the Spider Attack area. Sometimes you have no choice. So we could get a teleporter, could get another skill. I'm also eyeing up the fact that these guys have 2 energy, and 2 energy means that Frankie Walk might be a possibility if their experience works out, which is, you know, randomized. That's not something they can effectively control.
For the moment, Sigma's experience would be enough to Froggy Walk, but of course any of these pickups that he will get before that could potentially be experienced and then mess up this setup again. So you kind of really only know if you can Froggy Walk before you do the Froggy Walk. Like there's 99 experience.
Well, and even if you can Frankie Walk, there's a very real debate to be had about whether it's worth it. Because going to Grotto right now with these skills isn't amazing either. Because without verticality, you have to leave a lot of stuff behind. They do have Charge Flame, of course, so Blue Plant's breakage, has been found, but they only have 2 energy. So it's still kind of rough.
And they have enough keystones to make it through to the Charge Flame tree area and then the Spider Sack area and all of that would follow afterwards, because they only need 4 more keystones to do that, and they have 5 or 4. I actually... Okay, maybe there was a keystone in the charge tree area. I don't know what keystone Sigma is missing over IMRaziel, but doesn't really matter.
All right, and just a keystone. That experience orb that Sigma just picked up on the right is the only thing that's in logic. While you're down here, you might as well, any runner might as well continue onto the teleporter, which is what we see Sigma doing. It's indicative of what I was discussing before, that these wall jump charge flame starts are relatively sparse. The Sigma's down here at all. I know he's a pretty big proponent of skip the boulder area entirely if you can help it, because there's usually, as is the case this seed, one in logic pickup. But that one in logic pickup is so important right now that Sigma didn't want to skip it.
But then again, there are lots of pickups in logic on the right side, right? Like they can already get to many places on the right side. That just something like double jump or yeah, well, they have plant breaks, but something like double jump would enable them to get even more pickups on that side. So that's probably what they were looking for here during the sequence break.
Man, there is nothing.
No.
So Sigma cleared out all of those pickups, even though only one of them was in logic. So upside, both Sigma and IMRaziel are going to have that Blackroot teleporter for later. Downside, which isn't really a downside, it just maybe isn't as fluid a seed as it could be, is that it looks like we're going to be heading around the Spirit Tree. That's going to be the only option, unless IMRaziel does a Frankie Walk. I don't recall whether these other pickups down here are experienced for him.
Yeah, me neither. Now,
I'm sorry, do you see what's happening to IMRaziel?
Yeah, looks like he has probably scrolly menued that one, which can mess up the make the boulder not deadly trick.
It worked out though, eventually. Also a small optimization from Sigma. Rather than breaking the plant on the way to Charge Flame and then having to climb up top over the barricade, Sigma decided to activate the tree, then spend an ability point to get half-price Charge Flame, break the plant on the way out, knowing that he was almost certainly going to be exiting back out the way he came in.
And he is gonna pull this lever in order to probably check that later on, like already pulling that just to lower that platform to, or maybe not even to check the pickup there, but he has to get up, right? I think he has no way to reach that area, just wall jump. If he had
well, and I want to kind of point out, most randomizer seeds, it can be difficult, as we've discussed in the past, to conclusively say who is in the lead and who isn't. In the early game, we had IMRaziel in the lead, right, by just a little bit, and then Sigma looked like he was in the lead. However, Sigma now has to drop down to this map. So it looks like this is incredibly close for how linear the siege has been so far. IMRaziel is still going to be just a tiny bit ahead, although I don't remember whether IMRaziel pulled the lever in the Charge Flame area yet. If he didn't, he's going to have to go down there.
Yeah, I don't think he has done that, really. So they could be a lot closer than it looks right now. Like even right now, they are really close and they are already 12 minutes in. But like you said, the seed has been pretty linear so far. And with neither of them choosing to go for an early Spider Sack area visit, it's pretty much expected, right? I mean, their movement technique is about the same, I'd argue.
Yeah, look at how close IMRaziel is to a level up. He'll probably use that strategically. He can break the thing and then make a save, knowing that he can get a level up for free and use that extra energy to check the plant up top. And there's his experience. IMRaziel will be able to jump up. Never mind. It is possible to do what Sigma's doing. Only got 9 experience, however, so we're still even playing field on the skill front.
Now on the left side, IMRaziel is opting to skip this teleporter cutscene. We will see, okay, we actually see that Sigma is going to skip it as well because he opened the Save Anywhere menu. Now both of them choosing to skip the teleporter, they are probably thinking that they will get some other kind of left side access on the right side, or that's what they're gambling for. Now on the left side, we see that IMRaziel has to actually pull the lever, so Sigma will probably pull ahead by a slight amount here.
Yeah, and this is what you're talking about. That's a strategic choice by Sigma. Pulling that lever that IMRaziel just pulled is not incredibly slow, but it takes a handful of seconds, right? And if you can prevent it, it's nice to not have to do this path, but we will see Sigma and IMRaziel temporarily swapping places as for who's in the lead. I guess since it's so linear so far, I'll also just briefly mention that there is one in logic pickup that both Sigma and Raziel skipped, which is the experience orb in the Valley entry. It's really, really slow to get, so it's not surprising that they skipped it, but it is in logic.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. You can easily forget that that's in logic with just double jump, or not forget, but not want to get it.
Now, this is big as well. That's not big. That's 31 experience. Who cares? Sigma has ultra magnets. The reason that matters is that Sigma, if he so chooses, and I don't see why he wouldn't, is going to be able to do a very interesting trick in order to open up that 4 energy door early. 4 energy doors, of course, usually require 4 energy. However, 2 + 2 = 4. So what Sigma's going to do, he's going to try to refill 2 energy, couldn't get there, and then he's going to try to go up top and use ultra magnet to open the door. That was a weird explanation. The point is that Sigma still has to go farm for more energy, and he didn't get it.
No, missing half an energy, really.
Now, I know there was an energy regen in the early game that Sigma missed. It looks like he might still have one, though.
Yeah, it looks like it's regenerating, right? But at the same time, waiting for that would take quite a while, so he chose to drop down to check this energy cell first. And now he should have enough for this really interesting trick. With
this
the
is definitely out of logic. And actually, that was a level up. Wow.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? That is massive. That's huge. That's a big time sink for Sigma. I mean, I say time sink. That has a negative connotation. That is very out of logic and a huge pickup that if Raziel ever gets that, he's not going to be back there for quite some time. He does have 3 energy now, but Raz is going to need 4 to get that in logic.
And there's so many more pickups available to Sigma right now, right? Like even in the grotto area, you can reach so many more pickups with just double jump and charge flame combined, and wall jump obviously, but they have.
This is man, that's hugely impactful. If Raziel finds some other form of verticality like charge jump or something, it will be mitigated. But the huge benefit to Sigma is that he'll be able to clear out probably not all of Grotto, but pretty much all of Grotto in there's the double order in one pass rather than 2 or maybe 3. More to the point, Sigma can also shortcut into Grotto through the iceless area, which is something that is technically available to Raziel, but for all intents and purposes, it's not available.
Yeah, you probably don't want to do the iceless trick. Now Sigma has found a 4th energy cell, so he can check these 4 energy doors eventually. There's a 5th energy cell that's pretty nice because he needs to use charge flame in order to break the plants, so he's not gonna be on 4 energy a lot.
I'm almost speechless. I cannot emphasize enough how important that double jump find was for Sigma. Also because of the energy that we've seen. Although I haven't been paying close enough attention as for which energy cells were locked by double jump, Raziel will almost certainly get a 4th energy soon, right? Which means that double jump pickup will retroactively be in logic. So the logic might have expected them to come to Grotto, then turn around and go get that double jump pickup. If so, that's going to be a lot of time lost for Raziel that Sigma does not have to suffer.
Well, there is one pickup. On the right side, Sigma has just gotten Stomp in the Glide Vault. That's reachable with wall jump, but it's not really something you want to do with just wall jump, because it's pretty tough to get up there. So, another thing that Raziel might not get here.
Sorry, continue. I was just going to compare it to that experience over in the Valley entry as far as technically in logic with wall jump, but incredibly cumbersome.
You know, I was thinking about the same analogy actually there. It's kind of the same thing, right? Just something you can do and you're aware that it's in logic, but it's not really worth it for just being one pickup. Then again, it was Stomp this time. Sigma can't put that to use just yet, but eventually he will be able to.
Yeah, I mean, Sigma will save little bits of time by falling faster, but yeah, that's a minor usage of Stomp. Holy cow! So I was going to say that Raziel found the Gumon Seal, which was already known. The Gumon Seal was the left hanging experience orb, something that we knew from the first clue of the game. I don't think we even talked about it because it's probably not going to matter. The Water Vein, though, matters a lot more.
Oh yeah, the Water Vein. Oh, and then there's also Glide for Raziel.
This is
Sigma will
huge.
get that shortly.
That's two trees down in Grotto. It is conceivable that the Sunstone's down here somewhere, but we'll find out later.
Now, the water vein being found that early, and then also we know that double jump is in logic. Does that potentially mean that a Ginzo visit is the next thing that the seed is expecting you to do?
It is a possibility. I'm still curious as to see when Raziel is going to get his 4th energy, because double jump is not in logic until they have found 4 energy. So Spark and I will try to keep up with the double jump logic. For the time being, Sigma is continuing to be more thorough down in Grotto, including clearing out this vault, whereas Raziel...
Dash.
Sigma's now up double jump, stomp, and dash. Raziel has feather, but Sigma's gonna get that on the way. This is insane.
This is like the prime example of Grotto just being pick up Candyland, or whatever you want to call it, right? There's like everything is in Grotto. I would not be surprised to find the Sunstone here as well at this point.
That's really, really huge. I guess we're gonna see Sigma going off to the right to double jump. I'm sure he'll get his water vein and his glide along the way to check in with Raziel, who ulted and got grenade in the death gauntlet. So that means that Raziel does have 4 energy. He has grenade, which is just of course nice to have. It also means that grenade lock pickups will not be a barrier this seed if they come into play. It also means that double jump is in logic now, although Raziel, it would be weird if he went back there. Much as we meme about the progression vault, it would be a strange one-off to go check right now.
Yeah, he has really no reason to go there, right? He has lots more pickups that he could check. Now he has gotten the water vein, so maybe he expects to find some kind of verticality somewhere.
Did you see Sigma's mini-boss? Or should I say lack thereof?
Yeah, so I didn't see it. Oh god, it's a Sunstone.
I can't.
Amazing.
You're gonna have to finish commentary for me. I'm done.
Yeah, let's just go home.
I'm done.
This is probably drunk.
Pack it up, boys. All 3 keys in Grotto. Glide was in Grotto. Dash was in Grotto. Sigma got double jump out of logic. Got stomp as a result of his double jump. This is very much looking like Sigma is probably going to win this race because of having double jump. You know, Raziel will get his dash. Well, he already has his dash, but that double jump pickup is going to be hugely impactful for clearing out a lot of the trees that Sigma's going to be able to go after this. After this.
Now the race is not over, right? But then again, this one sequence break that Sigma did with the Ultra Magnet, and then basically everything being down here in Grotto. Like, he's in go mode now, right? He just needs to get all of the trees and then he's done. And Sigma is pretty experienced.
I wouldn't say it's go mode, not until you have Bash. It's key go mode, but they're gonna want Bash, charge jump, something else. Sigma does have rocket jumps. If Raziel doesn't have rocket jumps, he'll get it before too long. So I don't think that they're quite in go mode, but it'll be very close. But the good part about having all the dungeon keys is that you can pretty much only focus on finding the skills you need to finish the game. You don't need to think about clues. You don't need to prioritize based on those key locations because they already have all of them. Yeah,
so that probably means that Sigma might try and visit Ginzo pretty soon because he doesn't need to worry about the Sunstone being locked in there somewhere.
Sorry, I have to catch my breath. This has been a very interesting seed so far. I also just want to point out, Sigma has been being extremely thorough. To be honest, more thorough than I had expected him to be. Of course, it's paid off massively, just in spades. I think it was the Sunstone past the mini-boss, right?
Yeah, the mini-boss keystone.
Yeah, but at this point, I'll be very curious. Sigma is going to use Stomp and Dash to go clear out Light Grenade first, which is kind of nice. Light Grenade is kind of geographically isolated from much of the rest of the world. And so when you have Stomp and Dash, it kind of makes some sense to just clear it out early.
And on the left side, Raziel will be getting his double jump pickup right here. Now that was quick thinking by him, remembering that the Grotto Vault just got in logic with him finding the 4th energy cell. And he probably knows that the next thing is most likely behind this double jump pickup.
Yeah, I'm very, very curious. Depending on the results of this game, we may get to talk to Raziel and Sigma today, or it might be another day. We'll find out. But I'm very curious about Raziel's decision to go back there early. Of course, it's extremely valuable, but Raziel had no way of knowing that. And as far as all the things that are available for Raziel to check, well, I guess we shouldn't speculate too much. The point is that Raziel has double jump, and that's going to be really, really good. That's going to make this a lot closer.
So it's not over yet, though. It will, of course, be tough, kind of tough for Raziel to come back. Or let's not talk about comebacks, right? Like, okay, there's Bash on the grenade tree for Sigma.
Everybody take a breath. Everybody just calm down.
I can't. I literally can't in this scene.
If anyone missed it, there was also extra double jump at the grenade door in the grenade area. Thank you to do because I actually missed it the first time. So let's all just take stock, all right? We're looking at 24 minutes, almost 25 into the seed. Sigma has double jump, bash grenade, stomp, feather, charge flame, dash. He has all 3 dungeon keys. Actually, he has triple jump. Raziel has all of that except that he doesn't have stomp and bash. So Sigma is definitely in go mode now, especially because he has all 3 keys. He's just straight up in pure go mode. It's a race to the finish line. Raziel is probably still going to want bash before that happens, which he will get for free when he goes to the light grenade tree.
Now the quote-unquote problem there is that Raziel is doing the Ginzo tree right now, so this will take him quite a while without really giving him bash. And having a little bit of trouble with the climb here. At least he has the needed verticality to make it through here, but Sigma will probably be a little bit faster just because of the bash skill.
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't even say so much it's that, I mean, you're not wrong, obviously, but like, it's not even so much that bash speeds up Ginso, it does, but Raziel's going to have to keep checking pickups, because Raziel knows that he still wants, you know, ideally bash, but even something like wind restore or charge jump or a left side teleporter would be very, very valuable. Whereas Sigma, for his part, if he chooses, can skip. Actually, I lied, he can't skip everything. The reason is that the water in the final escape is poison. I forgot about that. But apart from that, he's done. That said, Sigma might continue checking pickups, at least some pickups, just until he gets, like, you know, 1, maybe 2 more health, or ultra defense if he can salvage all the ability points.
Now, I would expect our runners to think of that situation, that they would likely need some more health in order to finish the final escape. Like, we can see Sigma taking little detours to check some of these pickups that don't really take too much time to check. But with a seed giving you this much progression early on, I think it can be pretty easy to just enter full-on go mode and then kind of forget that you're not really in go mode yet.
Yeah, I actually really like this routing by Sigma. It's very, very common to, what am I trying to say, to ult-R after hitting the stomp tree. Sigma decided to back out knowing that he was going to be heading to Ginso, and as a result was able to check a lot of pickups along the way.
He's also checking some of these grenade lock pickups that he can reach. They are pretty much just on his way. He will probably be doing Ginzo tree right after that. This is a health cell, pretty nice for him to find at this point.
Now, here's a question. Do you recall, Spark, whether Sigma has health regen this seed? If he's found it so far?
I do not. I know that there was the energy regen, right? But health, I don't know.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. Raziel didn't have enough keystones to hit the bash tree. That's something that we should have caught. Thank you to Nans. That's bad. That was a big time sink for Raziel to head through the Ginso tree, which wouldn't have mattered so much if he got the tree out of the way, but Raziel's going to have to do that again. That's very good news for Sigma. I'll say that much.
Yeah. Not what Raziel needed, right? Like, he was probably already behind a little bit. Now he's clearing these broader pickups that Sigma has gotten, so he's catching up in on the skill-wise, right? But having to revisit the Ginzo tree will increase Sigma's lead.
Yeah, that said, Sigma is currently sitting at 3 keystones. Of course, he needs 4 to open the door, and Sigma's going to need additional keystones after that. Well, technically not need them, but he's pretty much going to need more keystones. I don't remember whether these next 4 pickups are keystones. I wasn't paying attention, because it's... Well, I guess let's hope that they are for Sigma's sake. It would also explain part of why Sigma was continuing to be thorough, apart from also the health requirement.
I don't know if it was Sigma who said that, but I know that some people are of the opinion, like, if you have 3 keystones, enter Ginzo and just gamble to find another keystone, and if not, just go for the key dupe. It's probably a reasonable decision, right? There are lots of pickups to get. Now, none of these were keystones for Sigma, so he's gonna have to do the key dupe.
Now this is pretty big. IMRaziel, since he did find his stomp down in the glide, vault, and grotto. Oh no. Okay, so to finish my thought, IMRaziel found his stomp, which led him to bash. So IMRaziel is all caught up in skills. We'll see where he goes first. Sigma went down to do a key dupe and actually died, and so he had to kind of make the trek down again. This is a slow key dupe in the best of times, and so that's probably not going to feel great for Sigma, although of course we know that Raz wasn't able to make it to the tree either.
So not really losing his lead in that regard, but probably evening out the time that it will take IMRaziel to revisit the Ginzo tree later on.
Except that IMRaziel still only has 3 keystones. We've seen all of these checks by Sigma already, and as I said, I don't recall whether any of them were keystones. We'll have to pay attention to that left side of the screen, see if IMRaziel can find another one. They
probably weren't, right? Seeing Sigma also already only had 3 keystones.
Yeah, well, anyway, Sigma made it to the bash tree. He will have a decision as to whether to continue in Ginzo, although with this skill set and with all the dungeon keys in his possession, I'd be surprised if he did. Maybe he'll check, you know, one thing, and it's a keystone. Well, that's cool. Kind of a mean placement for it, but that's cool.
Just after you've opened the door, but then again, there's another keystone door that we have to open in Sorrow Pass, but that key dupe would be a lot quicker if you find yourself not having enough keys once you reach that area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anyway, IMRaziel, as we can see, is going through Swamp. He'll be getting to the Stomp tree pretty shortly, and I'm guessing he'll probably clear out a few of the quick pickups, like the Stomp-gated one, since he, you know, needs some more keystones, which there's one, so that's good news. Sigma actually had popped down to the Glades teleporter with the intention of teleporting to Grove to go left side, before remembering that he had skipped the cutscene. But believe it or not, that's still, I think, a net time save for Sigma, since it's faster to go back from spawn to this area than to watch the cutscene and wait through a teleporter, assuming it only happens once, which is true in this seed.
Also, he would have to do the reload, right, after glitching out Sign when he teleported there, so that would also lose some of that time over not doing it.
Yeah, so here we go. Sigma is, of course, ahead of IMRaziel as far as left side progression, although it does look like IMRaziel is heading over there, did a quick bash glide trick to jump over the cutscene a little bit quicker than walking through it. So IMRaziel is definitely going left side as well.
On the right side, Sigma is attempting the fast stomp district. I'm just gonna say that shot looked good to me, so this means it's probably not gonna hit, but look good to me. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's charge jump. That is very good that Sigma got that ability cell after performing this trick, because he would have probably not checked it if he hadn't gotten the ability cell in time, but he did, so that's charge time, and that's... He's only missing climb now in terms of skills.
Apart from keystones, this has been one of the most generous seeds I've ever seen. I mean, I'm just not sure what else there is to say. As you said, everything but climb, that's pretty huge. And Sigma, with already having all 3 dungeon keys, means he doesn't need to bother checking additional pickups. I guess Sigma is going to go ahead and start with Misty first before going to Sorrow, which makes sense. Maybe you happen upon Wind Restored or the Sorrow Teleporter along the way, make your life a little bit easier.
And IMRaziel has gone to the valley area through the lower route, choosing to glitch out this death plane. So he's probably not going to find charge jump.
Yeah, you're right about that, especially given the skills that IMRaziel has. IMRaziel has all the skills he needs to finish the game, although, and this is important, IMRaziel doesn't have the Sunstone. So apart from Sigma having a lead in terms of having been to the bash tree and being further along left side, Sigma has the Sunstone. What that means, and I think it would be dishonest to say at this point that IMRaziel will be able to bring this back. Not that he's not playing well, but I mean, this is just almost Sigma's an unstoppable force right now.
The Sunstone is likely one pickup which wasn't really nice in this seed, having placed the Sunstone on the Keystone at the Grotto mini-boss. Like, I actually don't know if they were able to kill that fast. Like, Sigma killed it pretty fast, right? But still, a pretty slow pickup to take, and one pickup that many runners will choose to skip.
It's especially surprising that Sigma checked the mini-boss when he did, to be honest, given what Sigma already had in his possession. I'm glad he did, but I guess that's something for a bit of a retrospective after the fact. Having gotten to the climb tree, Sigma's going to drop down to the bottom of Valley and rocket jump way up. Didn't get high enough to grab a bird, but that's okay. He can just go to the Wall of Shame and do a little bit of a short Wall of Shame climb. It won't take Sigma very long to get to the charge jump tree at this point because he can just rocket jump up as usual. Sigma only has 3 keystones, but worst case scenario, he does 1 key dupe and it's not going to take very long.
No, it's not going to take very long at all, and he has already gotten 6 health at this point, which with the current skill set that he has should be enough to finish out the seed, right? Like, he doesn't even need to damage boost in the elemental room right now.
It's definitely enough, no question about that. Especially with Stomp and Bash, Sigma could do it in 5, arguably 4 if he has health regen. Sigma continued to check a few pickups along the way, just hoping one was a keystone. It wasn't, so Sigma's going to do a key duplication, but that's going to be real quick. I also just want to mention that Sigma did find an extra air dash along with his arsenal of everything else that he's found this seed.
So extra double jump, extra air dash, and basically everything else. And this is going to be climb, of course. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's just experience. Damn it.
Yeah, so there we go. That's all 10 skill trees for Sigma, and with the Sunstone, Sigma's going to be rushing to the end of the game. He doesn't have the Swamp Teleporter, and it's good awareness by Sigma to realize that. Oftentimes in this point in the seed, you go into autopilot and you just say, I'm done, teleport to Swamp. At which point you realize you missed it and then have to ult-R, but Sigma's, one could say, very cerebral. He's just going to go ahead and go through the Death Gauntlet instead.
And... oh wow, yeah. Do you want to say what just happened?
Yeah, Raziel just died, is what happened. Lost a good amount of time on top of already being behind. Of course, Raziel doesn't know he's behind, to be clear, but that's not going to help his chances. Also, a nice curl cutscene skip by Sigma. That's something that you rarely see in Randomizer, that's for sure.
Yeah. Maybe he has triggered the cutscene before. I don't recall, but either way, the cutscene didn't show right now, so that's very nice for him.
I'm fairly certain he didn't watch it before. Raziel has to do some key duping, and he actually has to dupe more than Sigma for the reason that Raziel still has to go through the Ginso tree a second time, and so he's going to need 8 keystones in total rather than 7. It's kind of painful that Raziel is at 7 and has to do the 1 more key dupe, but there he goes. Unfortunately, Raziel's counterparts on the right side of the screen is taking his attempts at door warp, attempt at door warp, and Sigma's onto the final escape.
Yeah, we'll be finishing out the seed shortly now. The only skill he's missing is climb, so he will not be able to do the final grenade jump. So it's not going to be as fast of a final escape, but apart from that, he should have no real problem with it. And it should be around a 40-minute seed for him.
Yeah, it looks like it. Sigma stomp cancels went a little bit awry, but thankfully Sigma has enough energy and resources and whatnot that it didn't really matter. There's not much to say about Sigma's escape. It's going to be a breeze for him. The only obstacle is Poison Water, which Sigma is coming up to right about now, but with Stomp and Bash you can get through this, taking only 4 points of damage. Well, even if it's 5, Sigma's through, that's what matters.
Yeah, he didn't need to wait for the fish to be in perfect position like he would do in all skills.
One of those rocks was out for blood, but Sigma is through. GG, he will be taking the victory in game 1.
GG indeed. Wow, this... like... obviously you don't know before that with your routing, but with this kind of seed, Sigma has routed it perfectly, almost, right?
Well, what it came down to was finding the double jump early, which, to be honest, is a very bad play. It paid off for Sigma this seed. In general, it's a big time sink that very rarely pays off. Don't get me wrong, it was a calculated decision by Sigma, and once he got his double jump, he played it extremely cleanly. The other big thing for Sigma was finding the Sunstone at the mini boss when he could have very, very easily skipped it. However, even if Sigma had missed it, Sigma would have found the Sunstone in pretty short order. For example, Raziel, having the Sunstone clue, is now going to have to go and search for it.
And we will see which pickups he will check first in Rondo. I don't know how many pickups are left for him. Actually,
he's not going to check the mini boss first because it doesn't make sense to. Given the speed at which these players went through, Raziel is going to be, I'm sure, checking a number of things along the way. I don't think it'll take him too long to hit the mini boss, but it won't be immediate.
Apart from the Sunstone, Raziel is of course also in go mode. Like, he has every tree, he has all the skills he needs to finish the escape. But like you predicted, Grim, he's going left side first.
Yeah, well, there we go. Raziel did type a GG. So Raziel is aware that Sigma has finished with a final time of 39:36. Shouldn't take Raziel very long. I mean, he knows what's left in Grotto, and he knows how to clear things efficiently. It does make statistically more sense to clear out these pickups first. So it'll just be a little bit of a matter of time until Raziel goes to what happens to be the correct spot in this particular seed.
And, well, with Charge Dash, and I think Raziel also has Quad Jump by now, so their movement is very fast. I mean, both of these runners are pretty comfortable with doing the Storm Cancel thing, so we've seen very fast movement from Sigma. We will also see that from Raziel. He is checking the mini-boss right now. We'll find out the Sunstorm is there. And then we'll probably have a good idea what it was.
I have a feeling these sneaky double partners may have been discussing strategies with each other. We saw Raziel take out that mini-boss in pretty much exactly the same way that Sigma did. Raziel, having found that Sunstone, is just going to take a moment, pause, do some, well, maybe not celebratory, but burn his energy. Raziel has forfeited from the race, which is reasonable. Just wanted to figure out where that Sunstone was, kind of figure out some of the root cause of what happened to him this seed. And that's going to do it for him.
Yeah, at this point, he really only needs to do the final escape, and he does need to prove to us that he can do that, so... After having gotten Sunstone, GG to Raziel still.
Yeah, this is, of course, a best-of-3 series, so this is only game 1. As you can see by the little icon, Sigma has taken victory, so he's up 1-0. We'll be heading into game 2 shortly. We're going to take just a little bit of a break first. Sigma, if he wins one more, will be on to the finals of the tournament. Whereas if Raziel wins, then game 3 will be, I don't recall, probably tomorrow, but sometime within the next day or two. But anyway, for the time being, we're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere.
Yep, stay tuned for the next race.
Welcome back again. We just saw game 1 between Raziel and Sigma. This is a semifinals match of the Randomizer tournament. Sigma just needs to win one more to advance onto the finals, whereas Raziel is sort of fighting for his life a little bit, has to win 2 of them to advance at least to the finals. On commentary, my name is Grimelios again, and this time I'm joined by Meldon. Hey, Meldon.
Hey there, Grim. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I have some personal stakes in this match because I face the loser of this match.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Do you have a preference between either of our 2 runners?
No, they're both great, good people, and I just want them to have fun. And then lose me afterwards.
That's pretty fair. But yeah, so game 2 coming up. We would be starting immediately, but having a little bit of technical difficulties with SRL. It happens. So you're just stuck with the 2 of us until then.
Well, last seed was, I think it's fair to call that a jet seed when it gives you every single skill in the universe besides climb, like in relatively short order. That said, last seed, I think both Sigma and Raziel played extremely well, but Sigma gained a huge advantage from finding an out-of-sequence double jump early. Do you have any?
Definitely.
I think predictions is the wrong word because it's randomizer, but do you have anything you're hoping to see this seed?
I'm hoping not to see that type of thing. I'd really like to see them both kind of make similar checks, and it really just come down to maybe slightly different routes or general execution. I don't know. I'd like to see a really close race, and these 2 runners definitely have the capability to have that happen.
Right. I'm hoping that no one gets randoed. It never feels good. And just in case anyone doesn't know what that term means, getting randoed means that through no execution fault of your own, you just kind of missed an important pickup, something impactful enough that you lose the race as a result. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that it comes down to reasonable routing and execution and not some Hail Mary play.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, what we saw from both of these runners was that they're playing it a little safe. We saw like the full Raziel no area check, the mini boss check in Grotto, and those types of things. So they're not just like playing it loose and hoping that they find the minimal set of pickups required. But they're also taking a couple of risks. That sequence break that Sigma found opening up the 4 energy door did end up paying off in a big way.
Yeah, totally. And hopefully Keystones won't be so, playing hard to get. That would be nice, in my opinion. An update on the SRL situation is that SRL seems to be broken for whatever reason. Not that it matters from a viewing perspective, but we will be getting the race kicked off shortly. I think we're just sort of, not we, I'm just here talking, but other people are just figuring something out quickly to get these guys started.
Yeah, I think we're just going to kick them off manually, just bypass SRL entirely. And
ancient technology. We might as well be cavemen. I'm gonna go chisel some numbers into stone on a cave wall, and that'll be their cue to start the race.
Yeah, imagine still using IRC in 2018. Now that's a thing.
Yeah. Well, we will keep you posted. In the meantime, we'll talk about something. I guess we can mention, I don't think it's been explicitly talked about yet. I just mentioned a moment ago that the loser of this race is going to be facing me in the, I don't know what you want to call it, the 3rd and 4th place match. The winner, however, goes on to face Covert Muffin, who beat me earlier today. So I guess we can, I don't really know where I'm going with this train of thought, but I just wanted to mention that that's who the opponent of the winner is going to be, whoever it ends up being.
Yeah, and I think I saw this come up in chat earlier, but Game 3 will not be happening immediately after this if Raziel does pull this back to tied at 1-1. Game 3, I believe, is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. So you'll have to wait.
Mm-hmm. Seems like Raziel might be having internet issues. I'm not entirely certain. Like I said, there's some discussion going on in our lovely Discord server to figure things out. I think we're okay, though. Looks like Raziel was able to join the race.
sounds like SRL is working again, so everything's fine. IRC is not broken. I think we're going to be moving forward shortly. Runners have the seeds and should be ready to go.
Oh yes. You know what I want to see, Melton? I want to see. I want to see something weird. Like every seed is like, oh, look at me, I'm gonna give you wall jump, and then you're gonna go to Blackroot and maybe go to the like no, like send them to Forlorn Ruins, make them suffer, make them do something horrible. That's I mean something fun. That's what I want to see.
Oh man, forced progression through Forlorn Ruins.
It happened once. One time I got the Gumanseal and Forlorn as like my first 2 pickups, and it wanted me to go there.
That would be something to see. And our runners are off. I thought that Sigma had just been a little slow in his prologue skip, but I think it was actually just his stream was a little behind. Looks like they are perfectly tied up. Actually, Sigma's in the lead.
Oh man, this is a close race. Look at these jumps; they're nearly frame synced. First pickup 26 XP. That's gonna be enough to level up though. Sigma's gonna pause. So is Raziel. Yep, cool.
Yeah, so that kind of helps them sync up a little bit after the very slight deficit that Raziel started with. They do find an energy cell in the second pickup.
No way.
Not very surprised.
Yeah, that energy cell, for anyone who doesn't know, is hard-coded to be an energy cell because you need... well, I think it's just that not having one energy is horrible. So it's just hard-coded to be one. Second pickup is a map. That'll be useful just to have if they end up going through the wall jump loop, which they will eventually, of course, but if they end up going through early, it'll be nice to have.
Yeah, and the map can be a sign of early progression through either the Swamp TP or the Grotto TP. Obviously, they would need to actually find those pickups. But it's not an uncommon path to get sent that way with a map stone to eventually find maybe another teleporter or wall jump.
Yeah, well, 2 more pickups off to the left. There's also the possibility of fake flippers if Raziel or Sigma chooses to check it early. But one of these 2 pickups has to be some kind of progression. It's wall jump. I think that's in the same place as last seed. Raziel's not even going to check the other keystone. He's just going to immediately go to Blackroot.
Yeah, interesting call. Of course, that keystone that Sigma found was just XP. Couldn't have been any kind of progression. Even if it was a keystone, it wouldn't have given them access to the left side. So I like this play for Raziel. Just gets an earlier look into BRB, and he'll be able to get that keystone check when he heads towards the left side of Glades later.
Yeah, I guess that does make sense, because Raziel's going to go up there to skip the little door cutscene anyway. You know, just a little bit later in the seed. We're also going to see Raziel and maybe Sigma, pause and move through this area just a hair more slowly in order to grab a little bit of XP from the slimes using Magnet. Looks like Raziel is trying to get that XP. Sigma's just pretty much going on his merry way. Ow.
Sigma did collect enough for a level up. Doesn't look like he's going to be intentionally getting much more than that. It is nice to have that second level up there so that you can skip the next cutscene. Ooh, Raziel having some more trouble with this spike pit here. At this point, he's now lost that time he saved by skipping the keystone check. Sigma has taken lead and finds Stomp from the XP here. Wow. All right,
that's fascinating. Stomp by itself doesn't do a whole lot right now, although it's still very convenient in order to kill things nice and quickly. Sigma's going to pause and take a save. Stomp will have some impacts because it's 1 out of 2 in the standard logic's expected skill set to go to the left side of the map, meaning that if they find Bash, things get interesting.
Yeah, this also does mean that our runners could choose to try and do an early sequence break into some of the pickups around Light Grenade, since they have logical access down below the floor, but they don't actually have access to many of the pickups there.
Yeah, well, with this, we're sort of seeing not a repeat of last seed, but repeat in the sense that the seed so far is very linear. Last time in the linear series of things, we saw Raziel being just very slightly ahead. This time, due to that death by Raziel, he is actually just very slightly behind, despite skipping that second keystone earlier. Again, doesn't really matter so far, to be honest, but like a small early advantage for Sigma.
Yeah, and one thing to note is when he goes back for that keystone, he's not going to lose very much time. It'll be a very quick check since he'll need to. It's not much slower to go over the top there, anyways. But he has kind of lost some time right now, which could end up mattering if the seed comes down to execution. But hard to know at the moment.
Yeah, it absolutely could. I guess the good news is that not enough has opened up to the point where anyone can really get randoed. You know, Sigma and IMRaziel both have Stomp. It's all fine. They both have that map stone, but haven't actually hit a map alter yet. We see Sigma in the midst of his cutscene stack going off to check some out-of-sequence stuff past the Crushers. IMRaziel will pretty much be doing the same. So there we go.
Yeah, so what I'm curious to see now is if both runners are going to choose to head into the boulder escape sequence like they did in the last seed. I know that Sigma has he likes to skip it when possible, and
I think he's going to have to. I mean, like, what have they gotten for progression?
I was going to say, yeah, no, there's actually nothing they can check right now.
Yeah, so to that end, it's
kind of curious.
Yeah, it's sort of like, it's not actually unfortunate, but there's a fork in the road situation. Every time you go to the dash tree and then go check that mid Blackroot AC. If it's valuable, it's actually faster to do what both Sigma and IMRaziel did, Alt-R, and then run back in from spawn. It looks super slow, but those platform cycles are so slow that this is still faster. It is annoying because you're like, oh my god, now I have to, you know, run all the way back in here, but anyway.
Yeah, so I think the last remaining pickup in logic right now is this XP here. So
just has to be progression.
Yeah, hold on and wait. This is going to be something. I wouldn't be surprised to see. Yeah, there we go. Dash. So that opens up the rest of this boulder sequence as well as some of the pickups below this area.
Yeah, Sigma, for once, doesn't have to keep the frog alive. He's just going to rush out of there. With that dash pickup, we had said before that that experience was the only thing in logic. That's no longer true. With dash, these other pickups are in logic, although we'll see if any of them are progression. Going to Light Grenade is also an option, as is going to Grotto, actually.
Yeah, so kind of that one pickup unlocked a lot of the map right now. It's difficult to get out of Grotto, but they still have a number of checks they can do in that area right now. Of course, I'm sure neither runner really wants to start exploring that area without the ability to check the plants or some of the more vertical pickups there. Sigma realizes he can't get out of this area if he stomps down to the boulder, so has to take a death after checking that. And
I think that was intentional. It was an awkward situation. Sigma was trying to save, and his Soul Link just wasn't ready. I think that was just a, you know, known thing, just to make sure, because that boulder pickup is in logic. It would really suck to miss it since they're still pretty starved. But that does give IMRaziel now a temporary lead, whereas before Sigma had it.
Yeah, so IMRaziel kind of skipping a couple of pickups throughout the map, but so far nothing he's skipped has been important, so it's working out for him very well.
This is an interesting situation. Grotto is a dense area, we talk about that a lot, but that's usually with the assumption that you have enough abilities to check a fair bit of it. Without extra verticality, and without proper blue plant breakage, most of this area is inaccessible, and so for that reason we see Sigma being quite thorough, including going down to the mini-boss, whereas IMRaziel is going closer to the tree. Of note is that there's an experience orb directly next to wall jump, which IMRaziel is going to have to skip for the time being.
Yeah, I was going to question this mini-boss play for a moment, and then I noticed that they have Stomp. Although, despite having Stomp, Sigma's taken at least 2 deaths so far, so having a little bit of difficulty with this mini-boss. He's at like maybe 1/10 of a health, does eventually kill the mini-boss and gets a level up for a nice heal. But taking some more time loss here, and it turns out to not be anything important.
Yeah, and with that, Sigma's just going to back out. Sigma has 2 keystones. Looks like he's going to use that to go into the wall jump area, whereas IMRaziel used it to go to double jump. The benefit, of course, of Sigma's choice is that a wall jump area has many, many more pickups in logic than Grotto does at the moment.
Yeah, so this actually forces IMRaziel to head back towards this area as he's still searching for another keystone. He does have a map that he can put in here. We'll see what this is.
Keystone's kind of valuable at the moment. Very valuable.
Yeah. So I think with that, Raziel's going to follow behind Sigma and head into this left Clades area.
Well, the other thing is that the light grenade tree is in logic with Stomp and Dash. It's not the easiest thing in the world to check, doing some of the verticality stuff in the grenade area. But to be honest, I'm surprised that we didn't see the check from either one of them. It could be that they've forgotten, it could just slip their mind, or it could be that Sigma and Raz are intentionally putting it off, knowing that they would have to skip some pickups in the grenade area at the moment.
Yeah, they also might be waiting to get charge dash, as that would let them check a couple more pickups or just kind of progress through the area more quickly. We'll see. I know personally as a runner, it's very easy to forget light grenade in this situation where you kind of don't think about going there too early.
It's rare to have access to it, yeah. Sigma found the Grotto teleporter around this loop. And I just have to say, it looks like Raziel is almost caught up, since Sigma has been sort of having a bit of a rough time with some of the meaner elements of the forest. Of course, both runners stuck at 3 health means it's unfortunately rather easy to die, even for these experienced speedrunners.
Yeah, and considering that Raziel's already put in that second map, he's already been to the double jump tree, this catching up is very nice for him.
I saw the first clue. The water vein is in Blackroot.
Ooh, interesting.
Because
well,
of course it's in Blackroot, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, that could be really nice. They might just find it at the light grenade tree. It also could be really not nice if it turns out to be grenade locked right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess right now, despite having dash, some of the movement is just not having aerial control and a lot of verticality in this game is just so debilitating sometimes. There's such a world of difference between having charge jump or Grotto. It does look like Raziel is going to use that Grotto teleporter to clear some additional things on the way down to Grotto, where Sigma's checking Spirit Caverns and got the Grove TP along his way.
He also just found charge dash efficiency, which is really nice. They're fairly limited in energy right now, and they have no way of checking plants, so they can get up to charge dash. Having charge dash efficiency along with kind of the other skills they have will really help.
Yeah, Sigma is going to use his Grove TP, probably going to go ahead and skip the cutscene, although he can also go check Valley Entrance using Stomp. Sigma doesn't have his first clue yet, the Water Vein and Blackers, whereas Raziel does. God, wide though, that's big.
Yeah, very nice. It's in a pretty likely location for Raziel to check, although it could be a while before he heads there. The Grove TP was in Spirit Caverns, I believe, so
right.
We'll see if he heads over in that direction anytime soon.
Well, let's hope. Glide, in my opinion, is one of the most impactful pickups in the game. You know, maybe not as impactful as something like Bash, but Glide makes most of Misty Woods and Sorrow pretty free, which is going to be very, very valuable later on when they go there.
Yeah, definitely. And Sigma will be getting his clue very shortly from the charge flame tree. It should be the next thing he checks after pulling this lever. And looks like Raziel is alt-arged from the Grotto area, so could be heading towards Spirit Caverns, kind of making this same play that Sigma's doing right now.
Looks like it, and I like this from Raziel. It's smart. If you're ever in a situation in a city where you think, I just need to check more stuff, Spirit Caverns is an incredibly good play to make. Raziel, for his part, is probably thinking, check Spirit Caverns, then continue on to the Spirit Tree, but of course, finding the Grove TP, he will still be able to do that in a different way, at which point, as you said, he will almost certainly find Feather as well. So it's, oh my god, also double jump for Sigma, cool.
Yeah, that's a very nice pickup. That actually puts the rest of the right side in logical access. The Grotto TP prior to this didn't give them access to very much. It was just a couple of pickups scattered throughout the map. So yeah, that double jump pickup is huge.
I was kind of hesitating for a minute there, Meldon. Who do you think is in the lead right now, if you had to choose?
Well, so Sigma clearly has a nice lead in terms of the skills he has, but I think it's fairly likely that Raziel's going to find those skills without much searching. But I don't know, it's really hard to tell. Raziel does have kind of a couple of areas he's been to that Sigma will likely choose to check. I mean, he's definitely going to go to double jump at least. And that's going to kind of make this very close.
Yeah, Sigma is continuing to be very thorough. Sigma was thorough last seed as well, which makes sense. Sigma is, and Raziel, by extension, is very close to go mode, but not quite there. Getting Bash would, I think, put them over the edge as far as go mode is concerned.
Interesting. I think, yeah, Sigma's going to do the save drop here to check this, the 2 pickups behind this 4 energy door. And it looked okay. I couldn't quite see his position. I think he was far enough right. Yep. Well done. He's able to get down here.
Not as easy as it looks, and also not in logic, but as with many pickups, it becomes in logic at some point. Might as well get it out of the way now. Got nothing for it, though, so Sigma's just gonna, well, he actually, I think, wants the... I think that was a keystone there?
Yeah, the left pickup here was a keystone. The other pickup was totally useless, just 10 XP. Chooses to alt R out of here. Could have turned the lasers off, but that's relatively slow. He does still need to go to double jump, so he'll probably be heading back in that general direction. We'll see how soon he chooses to do that.
I think that Sigma's kind of mindset here, and I might be wrong, but I think that Sigma's probably thinking, of course he hasn't forgotten about double jump, but knowing that he had the Grotto TP means that Sigma can head towards double jump while also clearing out a number of these pickups on the way down, which is probably not going to be much slower than climbing up out of that vault anyway. Quick death for Sigma, but that's going to lose him maybe on the order of 8 seconds-ish. Not that much.
Yeah, unfortunate that he did have to watch that cutscene again. And Raziel has gotten a skill parity now, so he's found all of the things that Sigma's found. And at this point, there's just kind of a difference in the checks that each of them have done. Sigma's done a little more clearing in left grotto. Raziel's done, I think, Death Gauntlet, as well as the double jump tree area. So still very difficult to know who's in the lead until we find our next progression.
Yeah, I was going to say the big thing that I'm seeing is that Raziel's already been to the double jump tree and Sigma hasn't. You know, any of these pickups that are in logic at this point have, you know, roughly equal probability to be something important, but Raziel's further along on tree progression, which means that while Sigma is heading to the double jump tree, Raziel is going to be able to head up to Iceless and the Swamp Teleporter and just get a lot of things out of the way up here that Sigma hasn't been able to explore yet.
Yeah, definitely. And if Raziel does choose to check some of the locations that Sigma's already been to, ooh, takes a rough death there.
We've seen a few of those, to be
by the
honest.
Grotto TP. Yeah, Raziel definitely having a little bit of difficulty with remembering to save.
Yeah, and Raziel has to go back up here. Got the Forlorn TP and got Wind Restored. Wind Restored in combination with Glide is a very, very powerful combination, and it makes the left side of the map much easier in the Valley Main area, especially because you no longer have to do Sorrow Bash at all. You just float right on through.
Yeah, and where the Gumon seal is on, I think that was map 3, and they just found the Forlorn teleporter, so we're actually relatively close to having logical access to Forlorn.
This is so interesting, and it's the sort of seed that I think can be not only difficult to track sometimes, but it can be difficult to play, because some seeds you effectively full clear areas on your first pass through just based on the skills that are provided to you. This seed is kind of the opposite. It's pretty scatterbrained. Raziel, we've already seen make multiple revisits to Grotto. Sigma's having to make multiple revisits through various paths, this time through the Death Gauntlets. So it can be difficult to not only remember what you have and have not checked, but to remember what is and isn't in logic all the time.
Yeah. Sigma found extra air dash from that XP right by the double jump tree you mentioned earlier, and I think there's almost no chance that Raziel goes back for it at least anytime soon. Extra air dash isn't hugely impactful, but it definitely gives Sigma kind of more aerial control, and could help them navigate some of the more difficult areas of the game if they don't find more health.
Yeah, looks like Raziel for his part cleared a number of things around that Swamp Teleporter and actually unlocked the Swamp Teleporter. So Raziel doesn't have the Water Vein, so he can't go into Ginso, of course. Actually messed up his cutscene skip, so has to sort of take a bit of a time loss, waggling his mouse around in frustration. Raziel will be checking a number of pickups in this outer swamp loop, where Sigma is going to go clear out this plant down in the vault, even though he's already cleared some other parts of it.
Yeah, so he's gotten up to charge dash, which I think that makes him the first of these two runners to do so. And they still don't have logical access to plants, but there's a chance that if they find charge flame later, plants are kind of the progression that's expected from them. Ooh, Sigma's actually headed towards the dash plant right now.
I was going to say, speaking of plants, Sigma's actually going to damage boost with that mega health and try to kind of short circuit his way over here. I'm guessing Sigma will probably... Are you joking?
Wow.
Of course the water vein was at the dash plant. All right, so we have a very interesting race on our hands. Sigma knew he was going to be heading towards Light Grenade, which has been in logic for quite some time with Stomp and Dash. And if you're going to do that, might as well check the dash plant along the way. That said, you also might as well not check the dash plant because it's super slow. We'll see if Raziel checks it, or when he checks it, rather.
Yeah, so if he gets maybe Light Grenade or Charge Flame, and then is choosing to head this direction, it makes a lot of sense to check that pickup, since he knows the Water Vein clue, and there's no point clearing the rest of the Light Grenade area if you can find it before then. But that's not in logic yet, so I'm still curious where this Light Grenade Charge Flame pickup is going to come from.
Yeah, you're right. It's not. I was thinking why it's not in logic, because Grenade and Charge Flame haven't been found. It's a sort of thing where if you're Sigma, you're probably thinking, I mean, you have the Water Vein, doesn't really matter whether it's logic, but you also might be thinking there's a good possibility that either Grenade or Charge Flame are buried somewhere else that is accessible, which would retroactively make the dash plant in logic, right? And speaking of the dash plant, check out the left side of the screen.
Yeah, it looks like Raziel's choosing to make this exact same play, which we know is going to pay off quite nicely.
This is amazing. Reminder that Sigma and Raziel are doubles partners, and so it's really sort of funny to me to see them making such similar plays.
Yeah, and I think Raziel's going to continue straight down to Light Grenade as well, which does make a lot of sense, considering it's been in logical access for a while. And Sigma kind of trades spots with him and starts checking all of the areas of Grove and Swamp that Raziel had already been to.
Yeah, well, with this, I think the Sigma does have a temporary lead. To check out those skill trackers, Sigma is ahead in trees, but that won't last for long since Raziel's going to get to the Light Grenade tree. That said, since... Well, what I was going to say doesn't matter. You can cover that one, Milton.
Yeah, Raziel finds Grenade from one of these dash-locked pickups down here in kind of lower Blackroot. Sigma chose to skip this, just beeline straight to the Grenade tree itself. And like we've been talking about, this might not end up mattering if it turns out that Grenade's just here to give you access to plants. But if there's other things that are Grenade locked, I don't know if Sigma's going to choose to come down here for a while.
It's certainly low on the priority list. Also a nice little, what are we calling that? The Poodle Stomp, where you stomp the frog and you do a cool thing. So nice job doing the thing by Raziel. With that, Raziel's going to climb out and continue on to Light Grenade. Whereas Sigma, despite lacking Grenade, is going to head into the Ginso tree, and he does have enough keystones, currently sitting at 5. That's a relief.
Yeah, and now that we have Grenade, that Water Vein's now in logical access, which puts the Water Vein in logic, so pretty good chance that whatever they're looking for is going to be buried on the way to Bash, or even at the Bash tree. Maybe this is the sequel we see Vanilla Bash.
Well, what I'm seeing is that, although it's still pretty close, Sigma is, in my mind, pretty unquestionably in the lead, unless the Sunstone ends up being Grenade locked. If the Sunstone is Grenade locked, that's going to be hugely advantageous for Raziel, but that's about the only thing. Sigma is going to be, getting to the Bash tree first, and at this point, I think there's a pretty good probabilistic chance that Bash ends up just being in here.
Yeah, and once they do find Bash, Bash Grenade will give Raziel some nice movement options, but I don't think it's going to make a big difference. Sigma's going to be fairly comfortable in doing the rest of the game without Grenade, as long as he finds kind of something else. Although I say that, I think even just the Sorrow TP would be enough to easily finish the rest of the game.
I agree, the final escape might be challenging with this skill set without Bash and without Grenade jumps. It would still be doable. I guess Sigma will cross that bridge if and when it comes up. Right now, the big find is Bash. If Sigma finds Bash, then he is definitely in go mode, and it comes down to execution and the Sunstone. If he finds Bash. If not, then we'll, keep talking.
Speaking of the final escape, I think if he was able to get up to quad jump, the escape is possible, but still rather difficult. I don't know if he'll go for it. I think he'd just kind of keep digging at the moment.
I would agree. I think Sigma... Well, there's charge jump. That's big. So our concerns about the final escape are now... They're not dead because there's still health concerns. But charge jump is very, very important for getting through the left side of the map and the final escape. And right now, it lets Sigma continue up in the Ginso tree, which is very, very good. Because otherwise, his remaining checks were not amazingly convenient.
Yeah, this definitely makes me think that the SAR TP or Bash is going to be above the Bash tree here. They can full clear this area all the way through the forest keystone, or to the forest keystone. Clean water, huh?
That's really, really big. Clean water's nice to have in its own right, but specifically it means that there's no longer a guaranteed damaging section at the end of the final escape. So Sigma, and IMRaziel's going to find charge jump as well. That's not really a question. Sigma now has everything he needs to finish the final escape using a damage boost. So the final escape is no longer a concern. However, still no Bash in the final escape, so Sigma has a choice as for where to search next.
Yeah, and seeing that clean water pickup makes me think that Bash is probably in like the swamp swim, or maybe one of the really awful water pickups, Valley Long Swim, this swim here, maybe below Spider Sack. Yep. So kind of a lot of long, not all one-offs, but not all good pickups to check right now.
Yeah, and there's two things I want to say. The first is that you mentioned Swamp. Neither runner has been to Swamp yet, for the very simple reason that they didn't really have reasonable access to it. There's too much happening, dude. However, with Stomp and Charge Jump and Clean Water, Sigma has easy access. IMRaziel's also going to have easy access to Swamp. So, could get Bash in there. However, I don't want to keep rambling, but one, the Sunstone is in place. That's what I wanted to say. So that's part of why Sigma's being so thorough. Well, probably the only reason why he's being so thorough here.
Yeah, and there are 3 grenade-locked pickups in Glades, assuming I counted correctly. And Sigma's checked a lot of the rest of Glades. I'm trying to think what else he has. He has this pickup here. There's the XP above the Waldchuck tree. And that might be all that's left for Sigma to check.
I think that's it. I think that's it. If it's not that, it's grenade-locked. So pay attention to the right side. If this isn't the Sunstone, it's not. It's grenade locked. I mean, it's possible that we've made a mistake on commentary, but I don't think we have. I think it's definitely grenade locked in Glades.
Yeah, this is very unfortunate for Sigma right now. He does have the Forlorn TP, so he could choose to do the Wind Escape and get that guaranteed grenade from that plant at the end, but I think that the lead just changed rather dramatically. I definitely give IMRaziel the advantage at this point.
I agree. Also, Sigma got the Valley TP. That's something we didn't mention because there's too many exciting things happening. Sigma went to Valley and decided to do a Kuro kill plane skip, a creatively named trick where you skip the Kuro kill plane. Sigma's going to just continue checking a few pickups, and there's the Sunstone for IMRaziel right there at the beginning, just plain as day. All right, IMRaziel definitely has the advantage.
Yeah, very nice key lead for him, and he's going to keep that for a while since we know where Grenade is, and Sigma's not going to go check it, likely for a very long time. A very nice method of breaking the rocks here for the glide tree, and Sigma is going to be collecting that tree in just a moment, although he won't be taking a tree lead with that since he doesn't have the stomp tree yet that IMRaziel's already been to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, IMRaziel doesn't have the Valley Teleporter and doesn't have Bash, so IMRaziel's gonna have to do some stuff to get through to the Valley area without Bash. I think he should be able to do this though. He should only require like 1 damage boost. Oh, and my mistake, IMRaziel did not get Clean Water. Sigma did, IMRaziel did not. Must have not climbed up high enough in the Ginso tree.
Yeah, he does have grenade jumps here, so is able to kind of get through this area rather easily. And very nice, is able to get that damage boost to get up here. That can be tricky. The spikes really like to knock you into a position where you can't easily charge jump. So IMRaziel is almost through this section. He still has a couple of other difficult parts, but with charge dash, he should be fine.
Yeah, yeah, it is possible to do this damageless. That's not something Sigma's or IMRaziel is going to have to do. We'll see how he manages this. In the meantime, Sigma's been heading through Misty Woods. Sigma knows that he doesn't have to check pickups for the key because the key is in Glaze, but since Sigma knows that the Sunstone is grenade locked, I think he's just checking a few things along the way to try to, you know, hope that he happens upon grenade, although of course we know he's not going to.
IMRaziel took a very unfortunate death there. He got the rocket jump off of this second spider, but actually got stuck in the ceiling since the collision can be a little janky when you are doing a rocket jump. Yeah. Some parts of this game, especially the ceilings, are very interesting.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just like, this is... Obviously, Sigma and IMRaziel can't watch each other, right? So Sigma, for his part, I think is probably actually feeling worried, but probably confident because he has no idea if IMRaziel found grenade either. That said, all these deaths from IMRaziel are certainly very good news for Sigma. Sigma's gonna have to catch up on trees and then go to Forlorn Ruins, and that's gonna take quite some time.
Yeah, although he is being kind of fairly thorough about coming back and rechecking pickups, so there's a chance that he remembers that he hasn't been any of those pickups down in the light grenade area and knows that they're in logic, so we might see him clear that out before going to Forlorn.
There's a chance, but those pickups take quite a while to get, and like, they have an equal chance to be there as anywhere else. Sigma is... Now, he's going to continue being thorough. Looks like Sigma, interesting, doesn't have... Oh, actually, no, never mind. Doesn't have Charge Flame or Grenade, so Sigma actually cannot enter Swamp through the bottom route. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think he may have forgotten about that as well, so he has to come back around through the upper route, which will be easy to get through since he has Stomp and Charge Jump.
And Sigma is just vying for that grenade pickup, though. That's about the only thing that Sigma could want right now in terms of, you know, Bash as well, obviously, but he needs grenade. There's no way around it. The good news, I guess, is that once Sigma gets grenade, that Sunstone location is going to be the first thing he checks, right? The tree directly adjacent to spawn.
Yeah, definitely. There's no way you'd route the grenade pickups in any other way.
That said, I guess I'm assuming that most people watching are familiar with the predicament that Sigma finds himself in. We've already talked about how Sigma needs grenade. The thing is that there is a guaranteed grenade pickup at the plant after the Forlorn Wind escape. That's a change that was made partway through the tournament, I think. The upside is that you get a free grenade. The downside is that it takes 1 trillion years to go there. And so Sigma's trying to check pickups to try to hopefully find it and prevent himself having to go there. But like, even though Sigma's playing efficiently, it takes so much time that IMRaziel's going to have to do quite a bit worse in order for Sigma to be able to catch up.
Yeah, and a good point from our truck right now, IMRaziel is currently, well, he didn't take clean water, or get clean water from Ginso. So he's currently sitting at, I think it's 6 health. I don't see if he has health regen. And that makes the final escape rather tricky right now, as he will be taking at least 4 damage and probably 5 in the escape, or sorry, in the swim. Actually, without bash,
I don't know
that much damage.
Actually, no, yeah, right. He could do this because he can make it through all the other sections without taking damage. So IMRaziel, it won't be the easiest escape, but he will be able to do the final escape if he wants to with this skill set. Obviously,
Yeah.
we see IMRaziel in Misty. It won't take him very long to hit the climb tree, and as opposed to his opponent, IMRaziel knows he doesn't need to check anything.
Yeah, I'm sure he would like to find a health cell somewhere. He'd also probably be very happy if he could get up to Ultra Defense. That would make the final escape a little less nerve-wracking. But like you said, he should be able to do this fairly comfortably. Can always grenade jump in some of the difficult sections.
So at this point, I want to draw attention to the 2 trackers. Look at the outside of the trackers at the little white trees. Sigma has now activated 10 out of 10, but he's missing the Sunstone. Raziel, in just a second or two here, there's tree number 10 for him. So Raziel is done with the entire game except for the final escape, which is... He might die a time or 3, but I think he should be able to do it. With that, however, Sigma, he's made it to Forlorn. He's going to check just a few more things along the way. Well, actually, he's not. He's going straight to the Wind Escape. My mistake.
Yeah, he might check the map stone here on his way. Just kind of hope that it turns out to be grenade. Yep, doesn't make that check. But otherwise, he's just going to head through this keystone door. Well, not open the keystone door, but still head through it.
There's some cutscene shenanigans going on here. The thing about this Wind Escape is it's more than just the Wind Escape. It's I actually didn't know you could do that. That's really cool. It's having to watch these long cutscenes and put the orb in the door and everything else. So at this point, we've said it a few times that we can really definitively say that this is Raziel's race to lose, as we like to say. It all comes down to whether Raziel has any issues in the final escape, and he would have to have a heck of a time for it to change the results.
Yeah, definitely. And gets a nice grenade jump to get to the door to Horu, has put his Sunstone in, and he will be attempting door momentarily. Sigma has nearly finished his cutscenes for the bridge here. He'll still need to watch the cutscene before the Wind Escape and then complete most of the Wind Escape. The plant that contains the grenade is right at the end, kind of in that final moments before he actually gets to Kuro's Nest, or Swallow's Nest, I think is what it's called.
These cutscenes are just brutal. They're just absolutely brutal. We just saw Sigma watch some more. He's going to have to watch even more cutscenes here, activating this escape. Meanwhile, Raziel has made it through his door warp. I didn't catch the number of attempts. It wasn't 1, but it doesn't matter. Well, I don't want to become a broken record. We'll see how much trouble Raziel has with this escape sequence.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that even in 100%, which, I mean, obviously has to do 100% of the game, you still skip that bridge cutscene. It's possible just out of bounds to avoid that room, so that's how bad it is. It's it's just terrible. Very nice grenade jump through the pillar room from Raziel. He's trying to break this wall while not triggering the elemental, or at least without aggroing it in the location you wanted to grenade jump. Very nice second grenade jump there to get through that room.
Yeah, that positioning is pretty precise, and Raziel needed it. Does not have ultra defense. Got bullied by the fish, though, and was unable to make it through the poison water. Raziel did everything else right, and then the fish just had different plans for him. So we have simultaneous escapes, just not the ones you would expect.
Yeah, I didn't think about it, but not having Charge Flame is actually very unfortunate. Charge Flame is a very nice tool to kill these fish, as they can cause you some trouble in the swim. And Raziel doesn't get the grenade jump here. He'll be able to get it. Oh, he is not able to get another attempt at it. And with that, Sigma has collected his grenade. He is going to go up and check this grenade pickup. He will have his Sunstone momentarily. So he's kind of catching up on Raziel right now.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Raziel's about to die again. He's been there for... Never mind, I thought he was going to die. Yeah, that's something I didn't think about. It's so easy to forget. And to be clear, if us on the viewing and commentary side of things are forgetting these things, it's very easy to forget while you're running as well. Raziel barely has enough health to survive, but has to make it through these fish, and he can't bash them, and he can't charge flame them. Oh my god!
So close!
I thought he had that. I was about to be like, I can't believe that. The fish was just out for blood. It almost jumped out of the water. Unbelievable. Sigma's almost caught up and has way more health.
Yeah, this escape is way easier for Sigma. I believe he also has ultra defense, or at least he can get it. Looks like he's sitting on 4.
He definitely does have it.
So that makes this final escape much easier for Sigma. He can intentionally damage boost in that elemental room. He doesn't need to go for that grenade jump. This is getting really close. Raziel needs to get this on one of these next couple attempts.
First try door for Sigma. He's through, going on to the end. Raziel missed his grenade jump. He is in position, has not taken damage yet. Very close, back onto the wall, still no damage. There's some damage. That fire creeps up all the while. Just doesn't even care about you. With that, Raziel is still in the lead, but Raziel pretty much needs to get it on this attempt because I can't see Sigma failing this in the same way.
Oh no! Raziel dies to the laser there. That gives the lead back to Sigma. Wow.
All the trouble that Raziel has been having. Raziel has been nailing, just absolutely nailing these grenade jumps, but has been having trouble with the water at the end due to those fishes. Very nearly made it one time. Sigma is through with her grenade jump, no damage as Raziel takes another death and is sent back to the start of the final escape again. Sigma is in the water, also no bash, also no charge flame, but he has plenty of health and ultra defense. He's through, and he has clean water. What am I talking about? Okay, the only saving grace is if Sigma soft locks, but he's not going to.
Yeah, this is an incredibly unfortunate finish for Raziel. He's back through this swim once again, but Sigma has finished his grenade jump, and he's just holding right. He has won this race and taken this series 2-0.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Raziel was in the final escape as Sigma was before Sigma was in his wind escape. And Raziel has just been being beaten up and abused by these mean fishies in the poison water. If Raziel had one more health, he could make it. If he had bash or charge flame, he could make it. If he had ultra defense, he could make it. It's that close. Unreal.
Yeah, this is so difficult to watch. And Sigma has finished, his final time is a 40-49, which is quite impressive considering he had to go to Forlorn in this seed.
Yeah, well, I mean, GG to Sigma. Again, not that Sigma can see Raz. It's not like he knew what the stakes were, but Sigma, for his part, even being rather thorough, just continued, kept his head down, got his grenade and finished things out. Raziel exiting the title screen has forfeited from the race. That has to be frustrating. And I think Raziel made the right choice, by the way. I think going to the escape there was completely correct. It's just, God, he was just a millimeter away from being able to finish that thing out.
Yeah, I mean, digging through the rest of the map, especially us knowing that clean water was on the table, so there was a lot of pickups that he didn't know he had access to that he could have been searching for bash. I can't question his decision to try and do that escape. It is possible, it's just very difficult.
Well, with that, we will definitely be talking with Sigma. I want to see if we can talk with Raziel as well. I can understand if he doesn't really feel like talking at the moment. However, Sigma will be advancing to the finals of the tournament, which aren't scheduled yet, but he'll be facing off against Covert Muffin, whereas Raziel will be going down to the 3rd and 4th place match to face me, whenever that's scheduled.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
I'm going to need it. That was a really good performance by Raziel. As I said, both you and I think, missed the fact that Raziel was going to be so challenged as far as his health, right?
Yeah, definitely. It kind of didn't register to me that he had missed clean water and like the fish, and I don't know, there's so much that makes that escape difficult that you have to be really careful thinking it through.
There's a million little factors. You forget one of them, it can be your Achilles heel, and that's what happened.
And we are going to be joined by both our runners. I'm going to bring them on in. Welcome, Sigma and Raziel. GG, Sigma. What a finish to that match.
Oh man, I turned on the stream after I finished, and I saw Raz was in the escape. I was like, holy crap.
Well, I just want to start before we ask anything and just say, Sigma, like, how did you feel about those 2 seeds? They were both pretty quick, but with different challenges.
The first seed, as soon as I found double jump, I was like pretty sure that I was in a great position because you couldn't have really gotten it faster than I did. And I mean, I haven't watched it back or heard much about it, but I believe that Raz didn't get it, and like that's the seed right there because it led to like everything. Stomp and dash and all this stuff, so I felt good about the first race from the time I got double jump. I felt pretty good about the second race as well because I got the double jump pretty early, but grenade was worrying. We talked a bit in SRL after, and I know Raz found the real grenade, and like I tried to farm for it too because I knew I was out of logic the entire time from when I found the water vein. So I was like, okay, grenade's probably in one of these early game areas, and it's our plant breaking. And well, it probably was, but it wasn't in one of the ones I checked.
Yeah, well, to that end, before we ask anything else, Raziel, how did you feel about the 2 seeds?
Well, first, GG Sigma. I felt super awful about the first one because I know that we were starved for really a long time, and usually when you get a seed like that forces you to go through a spider sack. I don't know why, but it seems kind of trolly that it forces you to go back. So I actually thought that there was something at XP above Charge Flame. And when I found Double Jump at the Progression Vaults, I just thought, okay, I lost this. Because I know that Sigma likes to do the... Well, I don't know if we had... No, if we had 3 energy, I would have glitched it. So I guess he either did a level up or he did a Ultra Magnet, which he likes to do. So I guess that was basically the seed over there. Seed number 2, I was a bit nervous because I was having internet issues with SRL. Then I got a bunch of stupid deaths, and I even for some reason had to watch the cutscene at the Grove Teleporter. But when I found Sunstone, I felt okay. I felt that I had a chance because Grenade was not an easy pickup, so I thought that Sigma might have missed it. And then I should have farmed for... I was almost at Ultra Defense. I should have farmed for it because then since I didn't have Charge Flame for the fish, I think I died twice to 2 or 3 times to the fish. So I hate those fishes.
Yeah, they suck. They really do.
So I wanna go back to that play for the 4 energy door in Spider Sack Sigma. So you originally went for the Ultra Magnet strat, but didn't have enough energy. At what point did you realize that you had the right XP for a level up and could kind of salvage the situation with that?
Well, first up, I was like 100% going to check that there. My plan was I would wait because I had 1 level of energy regen like doing its best, and I was just gonna like do checks in the meantime while it finally filled up that energy, and then I was gonna go up and do the Ultra Magnet strat. But I saw my experience was super close, so I like actually opened the like XP wheel or whatever as I came back before I went down, and I saw it was 16 off, which is 1 too low. So I was like, okay, I'll kill the bottom spider and then just go back up, because like if I get a level from like experience on the 5th energy cell or something like that, then I'll just go back up and do the Ultra Magnet thing, and if I don't, then I'll just go back up and level up. So it's like, yeah, that's how it worked out.
Makes sense.
Well, Sigma, I want to ask you another one. In that first seed, when you did get double jump so early, and then the seed just seemed to be throwing skills at you, how did you decide to do a lot of your routing, especially once you got bash? For example, I know that both of you guys had keystone problems in the Ginso tree. Is that something that Sigma you were aware of, or were you just gambling on finding some?
I knew I went in with 3. Like I was aware long. Like I was checking stuff in the swamp loop because I was like, okay, I need 1 keystone. I went all the way from the grotto teleporter to Ginso, and nothing was a keystone. I was like, okay, whatever. Because chances are I find one and I don't have to dupe, but the dupe isn't that big if I did have to do it. So I was prepared for that the entire time.
Sure. I guess another question to you then, Raziel, is I'm curious. And I think you already hinted at this, but back in that first seed again, you did go back to the progression vault and got your double jump. What made you decide to go there as opposed to any of the other checks that were available to you at the time? Because it's kind of a one-off on its own.
Well, there wasn't that much available, and so as I said, like when I these kind of seeds that actually force you to go through through spirit caverns and open the door and go like that. I don't know, but and go through the spider sack area. For some reason, there's a bunch of times that like you either get glide or something that forces you to go back and find another progression there. So once I got dash, I was actually expecting to have something on the XP above the charge flame tree, and then I just decided to continue through there because I think I had grenade at the time as well, so I could open the at least the hell cell I could get. And when I found double jump there, I knew that Sigma probably got it through the shenanigans that he likes to do.
They were some shenanigans, that's for sure.
So I have another question for Sigma. So I guess in game 2, progression was forced in the IMRaziel No area, but in game 1 it was possible to skip that sequence, but you still chose to do it. I know in the past when we've talked, you've mentioned that you really like skipping that check if possible. Does playing against IMRaziel and knowing how he routes affect that decision for you?
I didn't really take that into account so much as I will generally do that area if the ability cell is not worth keeping. But if the ability cell is worth keeping and you have good other stuff to do, then I would, just take it and just go to like whatever else I could do. But I think actually, I'm not 100% sure, but I think in both games, the only thing we had left to do was go open the Spirit Caverns door, which is like number 1 on the list of things I don't want to do. So I probably would have just done it both times, even if the ability still had been nothing. But like, in a different situation, like maybe you haven't done Spirit Caverns yet, or you haven't been to the wall jump tree yet because you got like keystones, and you get like a nice skill or something on that cell, then I'll just keep it and probably skip the bold area. But in this one, it was like, do I really want to go over to Spirit Caverns? No, and then we had to.
Yeah, well, with that, Sigma, you are obviously continuing IMRaziel. You are not continuing to the finals, but you will be continuing to face me, actually. So I guess my question is, do you have any particular practice plans or anything like that? And what are you going to be practicing so that I can also practice it? And then that's my question.
I'm not practicing at all, so you have a lot of free time.
More seriously though, and like you still have the one more matchup coming, but are you satisfied with coming up to the semifinals as you have so far?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about this tournament. I haven't been able to play as much as I would like, and we had 2 all skills tournaments, and 2 randomizer tournaments, and on the all skills I finished on the quarterfinals for both of them. On the rando I finished on the semifinals for both of them. So at least I'm repeating the same as I did last year, which is fine. So I'm pretty happy about this. Got a bit frustrated with the last seed, but that's fine. And now I will win the doubles tournament, which is the real tournament.
Yes, dude.
Yes, I'm very excited for that. I believe. Let me actually check the schedule so I don't give. So that's scheduled for 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday the 3rd. So in 2 days, and we have game 1 and 2 back to back, and game 3 will be on Sunday if it's needed. So very excited for that. The 2 of you against Covert Muffin and Dedu. Of course, Covert Muffin is going to be in the finals against you, Sigma, so you'll get to face off against him twice. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, it should be pretty fun, and it's kind of funny as well because in our Swiss stage, I got matched against Dedu in the same week that we played Muffin and Dedu in Swiss, so I get to like schedule matches against the same person twice. It's pretty good.
Cool. Well, I will be excited to watch all of those upcoming matches. That's going to do it for us today, though, right? Check the schedule. Yeah, there's nothing else today. But thank you, IMRaziel and Sigma, for chatting with us, and GG's on your races. Those were really good.
Yeah, thanks for putting on a show.
Thanks.
Cool. Well, today, thank you to Dedu and Nans and Ozzy and Skull for tracking Hydra was restreaming, and Spark commentated the last match, and Meldon was my co-commentator this match. I think that covers everyone for the games today, right?
Seems correct. And thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to tune in this Saturday for the doubles finals. But that's all from us right now.
Yep. See you all later. Have a good day.